Good morning, everyone, and happy What Is It Wednesday, our first one in May. This is Bonnie from the Barnes Museum in Southington, Connecticut again, and as you can see, I'm in a cemetery once more. 2 weeks ago, we came live from Oak Hill Cemetery, and we're here again. Now, why are we here again? I already brought you here. Well, I'll tell you why. Last week, we went live from Bradley Mountain Farm over near Crescent Lake in Southington, and we talked about the early history of the Bradley Barnes family. We talked about where Eamon Bradley, the patriarch of the Barnes Museum and builder of that homestead, grew up. And we talked about his entire family. And it occurred to me in the many sessions that I had talking to Annalise over at Bradley Mountain Farm that we haven't talked about historic research a lot and how we come to this information and what we do to get it. So we're going to talk today about the mysteries of history, because historic research is a treasure hunt every single time. Now, I didn't think that historic research was a treasure hunt when I was little and I was reading history, but I've very much come to enjoy history now, of course. And I love diving into all the different documents. Now, if let's say you were doing historic research of your own, maybe yourself or a family member of yours has done genealogical research and has gone back in time to tell you who all your ancestors are. Maybe you are doing just a research project for school, or maybe you're really interested in a topic from the past and you've just gone headfirst into reading everything you can about it. Well, where are some of the places you would look originally to get some information? A lot of us might go to the internet, right? We might go to Ancestry.com. We might go to Find a Grave if we're looking for cemeteries and where these ancestors are buried. We might go to the town hall. We might go look at town records, read a book. There's so many different archival records that you can look into a historic topic. But, and that's great, historic documentation is so important. It's where we understand our history. We have the diaries at the Barnes Museum we're constantly talking about. But we have to be careful. We have to be very careful when reading the historic record, because there might be conflicting information, there might be incorrect information, and sometimes we might find something that makes no sense at all and gives us a little mystery. A lot of times when I'm doing historic research, I'm looking at not only for what I'm finding, but what am I not finding? What's not in the record? What am I not seeing that I think I should? For instance, my favorite mystery at the Barnes Museum is that we have no information at all on Bradley Barnes's birth in 1883. We have no idea anything about it. His mother, Alice's diaries stop just before Bradley was born. So we have no idea what those early years were like. We don't even know if perhaps Bradley or Alice would have even spoke about Bradley's birth in her diaries. Might not have been something that she would have put forth. It might have been a little too personal. But to show you what I mean about history's mysteries and going back to that fun topic, we are going to see the cemetery plot behind me. So let me turn this camera around so you're looking at the fun stuff and not me. Now, last week I brought you to this cemetery plot. This is the Bradley Barnes cemetery plot, and that is where the last members of the Bradley Barnes family and those who lived at the Barnes Museum were buried. And again, we looked at that a couple of weeks ago. But right next door here, we've got this obelisk right behind, and we have these two obelisks right here. This is the entire Bradley family plot. And this is great. So this obelisk right in front of me, nice and tall and beautiful on this semi-sunny day, this is where Eamon Bradley's family is buried. And it all starts over here in the corner with these two stones that say IB and AB. This is Ichabod and Abigail Bradley. This is these are Eamon Bradley's. Ooh, so many Bradleys and Barneses, and my tongue's getting tied this morning. I apologize. So Ichabod and Abigail Bradley are Eamon Bradley's parents, and Amon Bradley is one of 8 children, and most of them are buried here. But funny enough, this is not where they were buried to begin with. And I'm going to flip my camera a little bit more so you can see. So this is not where the family was originally buried. Originally, this family plot was over at Bradley Mountain Farm, and some of the original stones are still over there. So again, Amon is one of 8 children. The very first child of Ichabod and Abigail was Polly. And Polly got married and she moved off to Massachusetts. So Polly is not buried here, and we know why, because she's buried with her husband's family up in Massachusetts. That's great. But when we get to the second Amon Bradley sibling, his second oldest sibling is Willis. Now, Willis, we don't know what happened with Willis, because according to a document that I'm going to show you right here that I was given by Annalise over at Bradley Mountain Farm, and you can find this document over at the internet. There's this great little document right here, and it's from a website called RootsWeb. And this document says that these members of the the Ichabod Bradley family were moved from the Bradley Mountain Farm property over to this plot. So it has a list of everybody who was moved, and you see this little asterisk right here, and it says bodies moved to Oak Hill. And Willis is on that list. But if we look at cemetery records from Oak Hill Cemetery, Willis is not here. Willis is not buried at Oak Hill Cemetery, but I can find documentation on the internet that says he is. So sometimes we can't just look at the record. We have to, if we have the means, actually put our feet to the pavement, and we need to go walking around and see if we're finding the stones. So I can come over here and I can find a WB stone. So, well, maybe that's a Willis, you know, maybe because it doesn't have Willis right here. But again, he's not listed on this obelisk. So where is Willis? Well, it's a little bit of a mystery, to be quite honest with you. He might be over in Meriden. He did end up living over near Meriden. And there are stones in a Meriden cemetery that have Bradley on it, and they have a WB and an FB. And now Willis was married to Fanny, so it could be them over there. We have to delve, it's a mystery still. We have to delve a little deeper into the Meriden cemeteries to see perhaps if they are the ones that are buried over here. There's a slim possibility he could still be buried over at Bradley Mountain Farm, but we don't necessarily think that that's where he is anymore. We believe that most of the family did come over after the Tuttles took over the property in the 1920s, 1930s over to this plot. So just because you find a document, this is again a mystery we were talking about, just because you find a document on the internet or you find something in the historic record, you might get really excited and you might have thought, oh, this is great, I figured it out, I know exactly where the family is now. But you might want to do a little bit more research into it, because you never know if that document is 100% correct. Mistakes are made all the time. So let's go into another little mystery of the family. Now, we've got Rosewell was the next sibling of Amon, and we know that Rosewell is not buried in this plot because he's in another section of this cemetery. He's buried over with the Newells, because he married a Newell. So he's a little over the way. If we were to scan the cemetery over this way, and we can see the Newells are kind of over past my car over there. And someone gave a suggestion, you might want to turn your camera sideways for a larger picture. I apologize if it's a little small. When you turn your iPhone live on Facebook, you get a crooked picture live on Facebook. So unfortunately, I have to keep it like this for right now. So we know where Rosewell is. We also know where William is. William is at Oak Hill. He's right over here. He's that William we were looking about. That's not Willis. Bradley, the WB, that is a William Bradley. And we do not know, we also know that Charles is here. Charles is over there by his mother. And of course we know where Eamon is. Eamon's over there where we showed you a couple of weeks ago. But another mystery we have in this family is diademia. Now diademia was the 5th child in Eamon Bradley's family. And we have no idea where diademia is. Well, I shouldn't say that. We think she's here. When you go to findagrave.com, Find a Grave says that she is buried in this family plot. And we're really excited to think that she is here and that she's not lost somewhere. But the question that we have about diademia, her husband and her son, Julius and Horace, is that we don't have markers for them. I showed you these plots. Every single other family member that is buried throughout these Bradley plots has an initial stone, has an initial headstone on where they are in the plot. Every single one of them is here. Even a little infant son of one of the Eamon Bradley siblings. Every single one of them has one of these little stones right here. But if it's true and Find a Grave is correct, diademia and her husband and child are here, they do not have a headstone initial, or an initial headstone. There is spots for them right here. There's enough space for them right here. So we do believe that possibly they are here. But again, we have this interesting little mystery. Are they really here? We know that Willis isn't here, and again, we don't 100% know why Willis isn't here. And again, maybe he's in Meriden. He was also, Willis, fun fact, Willis was also X'd out of the will, out of Ichabod Bradley's will. We look at Ichabod Bradley's will and he was X'd off, and we don't know why. Dun dun dun. So perhaps that Xing out of the will has something to do with why he's not buried on the family plot. Again, we need to dig deeper into the historic record to find all of this out. So, as I come over here, I just want to show you the carvings on the stones. The last thing I want to tell you is we also need to be a little careful on the dates that we find, not only on the stones, but on the historic records themselves. We found discrepancies between dates of birth and dates of death. Name spellings sometimes are incorrect. Many people, I know in my family in particular, many people changed the spelling of their names if they had come over as immigrants from another country to the United States. So there's always mysteries to be found. And again, the best part about historic research, I think, is that it is a treasure hunt. Around every single corner, you might think you have found all the information you need to find, but there's always something more. There's always something more to look at, because then once we look at this family, as you've seen, we have to look at what comes before, what comes after, and then these people are part of a town. This town is part of a state. This state is part of a country. We have to look at the entire picture from the furthest point back all the way pinpointing. So it's just, as you tell, I'm really passionate about historic research, and I think there's so much to be learned about our towns through doing historic research. And I hope that if you've done genealogical research or any sort of document searching in your, I'm saying searching a lot, if you've done a lot of searching through your life, that you've had a lot of fun doing it. Hit the ground running. If you have any questions on how to perform different research, please go to your local historical societies. Give us an email. Ask us if there's something that we can help you, point you in the right direction. Those of us who love history are always willing to help all of you out. So have a great time and happy hunting.